people, my name is Silver Hunter from Dota 2 Portal. Welcome to the 6th episode of our Learn Your Role show, where we plan to tell you something about the role mostly reserved for the middle lane, Gankers. Remember that this show is dedicated to the beginners, but even the intermediate players can learn a thing or two. So let's begin. Gankers are heroes with abilities that deliver long-duration crowd control and/or immense damage in the early and mid-game. They tend to have good mobility and rely on a mixture of physical and magical damage, as well as disables to bring down their enemies. Their goal is to give the team an early game advantage during the laning phase by killing enemy heroes in their proper lanes. The ganker role is often synonymous with the semi-carry role, as most gankers become semi-carries if they are successful in their efforts, owing to a large gold and level advantage. However, because their abilities do not scale as well, they will usually suffer more in the late game, hence the need for a hard carry. Nevertheless, if a ganker performs extremely well, he or she might prove to be the overall bigger threat to the enemy team at the game's conclusion than an allied hard carry. In order to get to their full potential as soon as possible, they will often require a solo mid lane to get the extra experience and gold. Once they get the basic ganking items, bottle and boots, and the ultimate skill, gankers can kill almost anyone with their early game combo. These ganks should be focused on the carries in the enemy team to delay their farm and bring an advantage to your own carries. To have the successful ganks, even without obtaining the runes like haste, invisibility, or double damage, supports in those lanes should do their best to harass the enemy and keep them on low HP. If it's not possible to gank their carries, try to see if you can gank the other lane or the jungle. However, if it's too dangerous to gank, if the enemy lane is pushed too much, or the enemy ganker is missing, it's better if you stay on the lane than wasting your time. Wards are the ganker's biggest advantage and disadvantage. With wards, your gankers will be able to obtain the runes, and in the same time, the side lanes will be able to spot the incoming gank. If you end up having problems with the wards, you can always buy a cheap smoke, which costs you only 100 gold. Observer wards are unable to spot the gankers under the smoke effect, and if you end up scoring at least one kill in the ganked lane, you will return the invested gold almost 3 times. Moreover, the enemy team will realize that their wards are useless to them, since the enemy ganker knows how to use smoke. They will have 2 options: to hug the tower, or to invest even more gold into their sentry wards, which are more expensive and trickier to place. Before we get to the list of some of the best gankers in the game, let's make the conclusion. Gankers will often go to the middle lane to get their ultimate as soon as possible. Once they do, they have to grab the rune and gank the lane, preferably the one which has the enemy carry. They have to gank while they are still able to kill. Some of the best gankers in the game are Bounty Hunter. His Janada and Shuriken toss gives him great nuking potential, and his invisibility can last indefinitely thanks to the duration being longer than the cooldown at ranks 2 and up. His invisibility has a similar mechanic to the Shadow Blade, as if you break your invisibility by right-clicking an enemy, then you will do bonus damage. Finally, his ultimate track is an incredible tool, as when placed on an enemy hero, it gives you and your allies a speed boost when near the tracked target, and if killed while under the effects, will give bonus gold to Bounty Hunter and any other heroes involved in the kill. Spirit Breaker. He has the ability to charge at anyone from anywhere on the map, and once he reaches them, he can deal a great amount of damage via his bashes, which increase in damage depending on his movement speed, and his ultimate will hunt down fleeing opponents and deal a good amount of damage, plus a free bash. Pudge. You will learn to fear this hero in the hands of a good player. Pudge's meat hook can catch an enemy and drag them to him. Once the enemy is next to Pudge, he can activate Rot, which deals damage over time to him and anyone around him, while also slowing those around him. And finally, Pudge can use his ultimate, Dismember, which deals a huge amount of damage to the poor sod being munched on. Drow Ranger and Viper. Both of these heroes are listed together, due to them both having very effective slows. Drow can slow her enemies with frost arrows, and Viper can do the same with his poison attack and his ultimate, Viper Strike. Drow can also silence her enemies, which makes it more difficult for them to escape, as it will prevent them from using their spells to escape or to turn the fight around. Storm Spirit. His ultimate, Ball Lightning, makes him a very efficient ganker, as he can just speed in and use his stun while still in ball form, and all of his abilities activate his passive Overload, which lets his next auto attack deal extra damage, and slow the target as an area of effect. Nature's Prophet. His ability to be absolutely anywhere thanks to his teleport immediately makes him an excellent ganker. Combine that with being able to trap players in a ring of trees, and an ultimate that can strike any visible place on the map, and you have a hero to fear.